Udoka got hired by the Nets?
I forget. It was either Wednesday or Thursday.
No, nothing's been announced officially.
That's true.
It hasn't?
No,
No.
I mean, sources were literally whatever day everything broke. It was like Tuesday, I think, right? That's what the sources were saying. But yeah, nothing's been official.
I wonder if they're going to back off of it because everybody just roasted them.
So whatever he did with Celtics, it has to be like way worse than like what the original story was. Because like they said that he was like sleeping with someone on the coaching staff, right? And then I heard that he was saying something like really crude, like beforehand, that weighed heavily on their decision. So and then to get suspended for a season.
Suspended for a season
for having consensual sex with someone else.
Yeah. Your team's willing to let you go without any payment. You know,
Right.
You just went to the NBA finals. Like there's so many things that are hinting where it's like, this is really fucking bad. And if he gets hired, we're going to hear the rest of the story, like for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like the moment he gets hired, the Celtics just released like everything, you know, just to screw over the Nets.
Fuck the Nets. Fuck the Nets.
Yeah.
Shit.
All right. Should we get into it?
Let's get into it, guys.
All right. Well, quick summary, game of the week. Cavs Celtics on Wednesday, November 2nd. Where do you guys want to start? Can we start with like MVP or what were you guys' overall thoughts on the game?
Well, I was going to say, takeaway for me, like, and we did the rankings, right? I'd love to pull it up to reference. I don't remember where I put the Cavs, but Cavs are legit. Cavs are like, I took away from this game. I'm like, oh shit, like they're pretty fucking good. Like they're going to get home court advantage in the East, I think. And so that was my like watching this game. That's what I came away with.
So George, I was kind of with you. So I didn't pull up like the year by year, but this team is probably the best non-LeBron Cavs team.
Yeah.
Maybe for sure of our life.
Yeah. No, on that note, I actually saw a tweet this morning where they've had essentially when they've had a start like this, they've made it to the NBA finals. And the only other times they've had starts like this is with LeBron, right? So
there were some like 90s teams with the Cavs that were like supposed to be good, but I don't think they ever made it out of the first round or like
Jordan knocked them out with the shot. I don't even know who was on that team though. I couldn't name a single player.
It was like
Craig Elo or something is like the only player.
Yeah. Shot over. Who else? Was Larry Nance Sr. on those teams? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyways, yeah, it is I think the best Cavs team of our lifetime. That's not a LeBron team for sure. They have the Cavs have an interesting roster. I agree. Like I think they're really good, but I know we'll talk about this, but like they have two bigs and two small guards, and it's like a very interesting roster construction. And I feel like my takeaway is like the two bigs like really works well actually.
So when you say two bigs, obviously you're referring to Jared Allen and Mobley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not even considering Kevin Love a big.
Kevin Love, D Wade is fucking good.
I'm saying like the closing lineup.
Yeah.
Obviously teams have more than two bigs on their roster, right? Like they play backup bigs too. But in terms of their closing lineup, like Mobley's a 7-footer and he's playing basically power forward for them. But he moves so well for a guy that size. I mean, he was guarding like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum even in stretches. Like he just moves so well. I feel like it works for them to have those guys that are that big. And it made me think about the Timberwolves with like our two bigs, and it's just like clunky as hell right now. And I was like, this is what it's supposed to look like. You have two bigs who can like switch. And they also like do a good job of taking advantage of mismatches. Like they'll like do really good seals, and Garland was good at finding them. So
On that note, actually not just mismatches, but like Garland. So you mentioned Garland finding them, right? They were slipping. The big men were slipping nearly every screen. So they'd come up, set the screen, and then they would just slip it, right? Without Garland even using it. And he would just throw little lob passes over the top. And and then once fucking the Celtics adjusted, they started doing different like little wrinkles on that. And I just thought, again, their big men are really good. They screen well. They're able to get their point guards open. And then Garland's able to find them really fucking well. Like he has such good vision and he's so fast.
This was his first game back this season, right? Because he got his eye poked like game one.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the post-game interview from like the condensed games, but like his eye is super fucked up.
Yeah, I did not.
Before.
You should look up a picture of it. It looks really bad.
What happened? He got poked in game one and was out a little bit.
I don't know
I
what
think
it was.
he was nervous he was going to need to get surgery. Like he got hit in the eye. I forget who it was who hit him, but the guy like apologized afterwards, and like there was blood coming out of his eye.
Oh, Jesus
So
Christ.
he like thought he was going to have to go home and like get surgery, and that was going to be the end of his season. And
Yeah.
then found out that it was going to be okay. He was only out for what, a week or two, something like
Yeah.
that.
Everyone was calling him Fetty Wap in the post game interview I saw online.
Were they really?
So messed up.
I love that. Mark would love that reference.
So who did you guys have for MVP of the game?
It has to be Garland, right?
Yeah.
Like we might, yeah. I mean, you might be better off like arguing who was the second best player, but I think Garland like almost had a triple double. Like he came back, like he made everything happen.
I came into it because George, you sent me your notes beforehand, and I came into it being like, let me see if I can find somebody else to be MVP. But like, I don't really know who else you could pick. Like, I thought Mobley was great, and I looked at the box score after. Like, he was a plus 15 in the game. He led the Cavs in plus minus, and I feel like you can feel that when you watch the you watch the game. Like the big stretches they had, like Mobley's in there, like making all the little plays, but Garland just makes everything happen for them. Like he gets the ball to the right spots.
His vision, I was just so impressed with this fucking vision, dude. Like, sorry, go on, but
no, I was gonna say the same thing. His vision, and then also, what I like about him is like I feel like in contrast to Mitchell, he takes mostly shots that are like within his game to take, if that makes sense.
I love that you say that because that Mitchell. I view Mitchell and Tatum in kind of the same lens, and I feel like both of them take shots that like are never in the flow of the offense. They're just these iso ball sort of shots. And that's again watching Garland, like I was like, yeah, no, this guy doesn't do that. Everything he does is literally like maybe not the right play, but he's making like a basketball move that isn't like playground, just park basketball, right? He's finding the opposite side kick. He's again trying to finish at the rim with both hands. Like I don't know. I was impressed. I haven't seen a lot of Garland. I was like super impressed with him coming out of today.
Yeah.
Or out of Wednesday.
So I didn't see every possession, but it felt like every Celtics highlight was Jason Tatum. But I'm looking at the box score here. He was minus 16 for the game. So I don't know what happened there.
Minus 16. Yeah. He was, I think, only like 33% since you have the box score up. He was only like 8 for something. Like
8 for 21.
Yeah. He did that last night against the Bulls too. Like he went for like 8 for 24, right? And still finished with like 35. He gets to the line at a ridiculous clip. But like, you know, we could talk about least valuable player and stuff. You know, I had Tatum on the list for a little bit, ended up removing him because obviously he finished with a shitload of points, right?
Yeah.
But that
honestly, sorry, go ahead. Finish.
I was just gonna say, like, because of the plus minus, really, and just those shots that he takes. Like, I am much more of a Jaylen Brown believer. I think his shots make more sense for the Celtics offense. I think he does a better job of involving teammates. And so I watch Tatum play, and I get a little frustrated, honestly, seeing what he does with the Celtics team.
Yeah, but all that being said, like at the end of the fourth quarter when he came in and threw down that dunk to tie it, he got fouled. Like that was definitely a foul. If it was the first, second, third, or like any other part of the fourth quarter, they're putting him on the line, he hits a free throw and they win the game. So like he still made those kinds of plays, and I felt like he hit the big shots in the fourth quarter when they needed him to. And I thought they probably should have won the game. I don't think that they played better as a whole than the Cavs did, but the Celtics were in the finals last year, and this is just what those kinds of teams do. So even with all the hoopla surrounding the team, like the Celtics they're 4-3 this year, 5-3. I think they're going to be right there at the end again.
They're really good. They're really, really good. I mean, the thing that I love about the Celtics team is that they just don't have any weak spots on defense. Like there's really nobody to go at. Their guards are big and strong, and so like you're talking about like, all right, we can go at Brogdon or Marcus Smart. Like they just don't have any weak spots across their roster. They can switch everything really well. So I like that about their game. I do think like Jaylen Brown was awesome this game. He played really well. Brown and Tatum both are, at least in this game, like they weren't amazing as playmakers for other people. I thought they did a good job like finding good shots for themselves. Brown was a little better than Tatum, but they don't really have like because they're playing Marcus Smart at point guard, they don't really it doesn't feel like they have a point guard. I don't know. Did you guys get that sense from watching them? It doesn't feel like they really have like a point guard on their roster.
100%. I mean, all of Tatum's shots, like he touches the ball top of the key, and then to your point, he creates his own shot, right? Jaylen Brown, I at least saw a little bit of like, flashing to the high post and getting the ball like as a cutter and then having to make a play. But they don't have like obviously they score a lot of points, they get to the line and stuff, but they don't have a point guard that really swings the ball for them. It's so ISO heavy, which is kind of what we saw in the finals last year when Tatum had like a bunch of those bad games. He just couldn't get anything going. It was just Tatum
Right.
trying to do ISO hero ball.
Derek White just kind of feels like a pretty low impact player. Like if he's going to be your starting point guard, like it almost feels like he's just there a lot of the time. So
it's so funny you say that because I for least valuable player, I gave it to Derek White because I was trying to watch as I watched the game. I was like, who did I forget was out there that played the most minutes? And he played 32 minutes in this game, and you like don't feel him at all. Like he scored 3 points. He's just not really involved in a lot of stuff. And I just feel like when you look at the Celtics, the box score on this, they don't have a lot of depth actually. Because they played Luke Cornett and Hauser for like 12 minutes combined, and they were both like -10 in that stretch. And then they basically played like a 7-man rotation in the second half. And Derek White's part of that rotation. And if they're not going to get production from him, then it's like this team doesn't have a lot of players they can go to. I mean, their closing five is great, but I just don't feel like their depth is 100% there. But I gave it
I love that you say that, Nolan, because when we like, okay, least valuable player, I had Marcus Smart because he got cooked by Darius Garland. And going back to this conversation about Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, he doesn't start for them, right? Like
on the bench.
How long until he starts for them? Because I think he's better than Smart. So how long do you guys get, or do you not think he even ends up cracking?
I feel like Brogdon is low key one of the better two-way players in the entire NBA, and I feel like he doesn't get that kind of credit. Like when he was on the Pacers, like he was making things happen. So I don't know if they'll ever start him over Marcus Smart just because of what he means to that. Like Smart is kind of like the spark plug of that team and always has been. Like he's been like the culture guy there. Like he makes things happen. He hustles. Like he's what the Celtics want to be. And I don't think that he's deteriorated enough where it warrants moving him to the bench. I feel like if you're going to move someone to the bench, it's Derek White.
Couldn't you just start both of them? Couldn't you start Brogdon with Smart and then the two wings and then
you would have
Williams or Horford? I mean, that makes sense to me.
I'm sorry. Is Derek White starting for them?
Yeah, he did.
This game he started, but
Got
it should be. I mean, Brogdon's just better. Brogdon's just a better player than White.
What is there? Do they have Horford at the 5? Because they don't have Robert Williams right now, right?
Yeah, Robert Williams is out. So,
so that's what's shifting everything. Got it. Okay.
But like, do you feel great? I mean, you kind of hit it about their depth. Like at least Brogdon coming off the bench, like kind of brings some like 6-man energy. Like I wouldn't feel great about Derek White coming off of the bench when everyone's tired to kind of man the second unit.
Right.
So maybe they do keep Brogdon on the bench now. The way, George, you remember the Bulls used to have Ben Gordon on the bench, even though he was like clearly the better player.
You need that heat check guy, yeah.
At least someone could come out. Like maybe Brogdon just finishes out games going forward. But I mean, they don't really, especially in like the backcourt, they have like zero depth over here.
So it's again on the depth piece. I love that you guys are bringing it up because what I had for my turning point in this game was literally anytime the Cavs bench unit was in the game. Because they were just shit on the Celtics. And it's the big men that Nolan was talking about earlier, right? Like you were mentioning the starters, but just in general, Cavs are super fucking big. So even their backup bigs, I thought like they carried, I have to look at the plus minuses, but they were really carried some of those minutes. Go ahead.
So I think you might have been just confusing the overall depth of the starters with the Cavs because I'm looking at this like the Cavs bench players, Kevin Love -4, Wade +2, Osman +2, Okoro -6, Robin Lopez +5. Like the bench players were like pretty like break even, but
but the big men though in those limited minutes, right? We see the pluses on those guys, right? The Osmans, the Lopez, the Loves had a -1, but
I actually, in watching the whole game, Love didn't play well. Like you can look at the box score, I think he was like 2 for 10 or something. But I like the shots he was getting. I feel like he was getting good looks, and they weren't like he wasn't forcing things. Like he was getting threes that he can hit. He was getting post ups and mismatches. So I do think even though in this game like he wasn't hitting all of them, I do like him off the bench for them in just terms of a creator.
So this is a little bit of a tangent, but I was watching Robin Lopez out there, and I couldn't help but feel this guy was Anderson Varejao reincarnated.
I thought it was when I first saw him. I was like, Anderson Varejao? I know he retired.
It was good to see Robin Lopez's right hook in the lane still alive. He had like 1 or 2 points like that, and I was like,
Yeah, but
oh,
then he
that looks
airballed
good.
one like 2 possessions later. I don't know if you
Also,
saw that
Robin
too.
Lopez in the flesh. I love it.
But
God,
I
God.
just I was just gonna say I just like having big bodies off of the bench. Like I like the Caps size. Like they can just put big dudes in the game. And yeah, I mean I think their bench isn't amazing either. I mean I like the guys that they have. I've never been a huge Osman fan, and I feel like you didn't feel him in this game at all. He didn't do anything. But I do think they have good players that they can bring in off the bench, at least especially on the front court. They have good players.
So can we like rank who we think the Cavs' best players are right now, and then what we think needs to happen in order for them to make a real run at it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love it.
Like, I think right now their best player is Donovan Mitchell. Not highest ceiling, just right now, like the guy who's going to come out and like have a big game is, I think, it's Donovan Mitchell, and then it's Darius Garland, and then I'd say it's Mobley, and then probably LeVert, Jared Allen.
So I think this probably means we got to have the Mitchell conversation, right? Because I don't agree on Mitchell.
Yeah, thank you for saying it. Because like I'm with you where it's like, yeah, Mitchell's gonna be taking the last shot, but like as a basketball fan, I would 100 times out of 100 take Garland on my team over Mitchell.
Yeah, I think Garland's the best
So
player too.
that's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking like you're in a game right now. You're playing the Celtics, and it's a playoff game, and it's an elimination game. Like, who do you feel the best about going off? Like right now,
Yeah,
not who
so
you want to be right now.
I think so. My sequence of the game, I think, ties into what you're saying, Pietro, because like to me, the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, like going into overtime, was like you got like the whole Donovan Mitchell experience where he went into that hero ball mode and he made like a bunch of insane shots. Like he really made some stuff happen. But then he also had those possessions where he just was so like tunnel vision, like I'm gonna make a play happen. And even on the last play of regulation, Ari and I were watching it live. When he basically like he's gonna take the shot, he gets doubled, gets blocked, and like if you watch the spacing, I felt like Garland was open. Like if he had just kicked it to Garland top of the key, like he could have gotten an open three on that last play. And so go ahead.
I was just gonna say Garland was blowing by people all game. Like not only did he have 29 points, he had like however many assists, right? And that's not counting all the misses that we saw from some of the Cleveland guys. So like I'm with you. It's like they gave it to Mitchell. I think I get what Pietro's saying. Like, he has a playoff history, he has a record, he's a dog, he's done big things in the playoffs, but I don't know. We haven't seen Garland in the playoffs. I think given the opportunity, he would perform more consistently and better than Mitchell.
So that kind of God.
I was going to say, I think the difference is that, like, to your point, Pietro, Mitchell can create an isolation, which Garland is like, he creates within like the confines of like an offense. Like he can create for other people. I don't know if I'm like Garland's like isolation, just create a shot, I'd probably like Mitchell better. But like within the flow of a basketball game, I think Garland's their best player. And I might even go Mobley second, but I know Mitchell's like thinks he's the best player and will get those shots at the end of games. And that's like one of the things that I don't trust about the Cavs. Like I just feel like it's kind of like Utah did the last few years. Like you just kind of live and die with Mitchell in the fourth quarter.
So I think that's what they need to figure out to like really make a run. Because I agree, it needs to be Garland. Like if they want to make like a really deep run, like just within the psychology and the psyche of the team, though, Garland needs to get to the point where everyone, including Donovan Mitchell, understands that Garland's the best player on that team. Like as long as Mitchell is or thinks he's the best player on that team has a ceiling, and it's probably getting knocked out in the second round of the playoffs. But if Garland can take like a huge step forward, or even Mobley takes another huge step forward, and one or both of them surpass Mitchell, then I think this team could probably make a run to at least Eastern Conference Finals, probably to the finals this year.
What do you guys think about the LeVert fit with this roster?
I mean, he scored 41 points the last game against the Celtics. Like Garland was out,
And
but
then followed it up with 1 point, didn't he? In the
Yeah,
next
the next
game?
game
is
he
that what
scored
it
1
was?
point.
Yeah. But 41 points is not a joke. So
I mean,
go
no,
ahead.
yeah, 40 balls, yeah, it's no joke. I
Yeah,
just the reason I ask is because I just feel like he didn't look super comfortable just being like a spot up 3-point shooter, like shooting just off the pass. I feel like, I mean, we've watched a ton of Karis LeVert over the years because he went to Michigan, and I feel like he's always been somebody who is more comfortable with the ball in his hands and like creating that way. And I almost feel like I like him more as a creator for the second unit than I do as like the third option on the offense with this closing lineup. And I don't know if they can like, if there's a move for them to make or like a player that even makes sense for them. But I watch it and I'm almost like, would you be better off with like a 3-and-D guy? And I know 3-and-D guys are really hard to find.
Jay Crowder.
But yeah,
Jay
like
Crowder.
I heard somebody talking about that on a podcast. He's available. Like, do you like that team better with Jay Crowder in those minutes than LeVert? I'm not saying LeVert's off the roster. Like, I still like him on the team. But in terms of that closing lineup, like, does Jay Crowder fit better?
I love what you're saying about bringing LeVert off the bench because I pulled up the player isolation stats after my Mitchell comment, which real quick so far this season, Mitchell is the best ISO player in the NBA through 7 games. So I'm going to, just take back kind of what I said essentially. Trust him definitely end game, right? But what's interesting on here, Karis LeVert is 72nd percentile. I don't know. He's like 15th on this list, right? Really good ISO player. I think it'd be a great fit for him to bring off the bench, right? I don't know who you would elevate though to that closing lineup. Looking at like the Cleveland roster, like who do you
There's
think?
nobody on the team right now. I don't think there's anybody on the team right
yeah.
now.
I mean, so you would have to bring in another wing. So CD Osman would probably start as a wing, and then you move Karis to the bench.
Yeah, I think to me it's like, all right, if you think the Cavs are really good enough to make a finals run, would you consider like a Coro for Crowder or Osman plus a protected first for Crowder? Like, is it worth it to make that move? Because I do feel like I just don't know if that's the right 5 to close the game out. I don't know.
Do we agree collectively that Jay Crowder is still good? Because I don't know if I buy that.
I wouldn't trade a first for him. I thought that was. I know that might be needed for the deal, but yeah, I don't think he's like that good. I think he's solid. He's an average 3-and-D guy.
I mean, in terms of like roster construction stuff, like I feel like Karis is kind of a poor man's Donovan Mitchell. Like they play pretty similarly, and Karis is just inconsistent. So Donovan Mitchell, I'm sure, is on like some sort of max contract or close to it. So this probably isn't a move for this year. But if Darius Garland can really take a step forward, and they're still having issues with Donovan Mitchell, still thinking that he's the best guy, needs to take the shot at the end of the game. I wonder if there's someone else that'll be willing to take that contract so that they can get kind of a bona fide 3-and-D player who I can't think of offhand, but just one or two of those guys.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, you make this Mitchell trade because you think that like they're gonna, I think, give it a run for at least 2-3 years to see like what they can do with those two guys together. I mean, they're both young, but I don't know if you guys noticed this. Like the other thing that I thought was interesting about that sequence, like the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, is the Celtics. It's from what I was watching, it seemed like they were putting Garland and Mitchell in like a lot of their actions and getting like bigger guards good looks in the paint by just getting them kind of switched on to different people. Like Smart had a couple good looks in the paint just like against Garland. So that's my other big question against them is like defensively, how do you hold up with two? I mean, Donovan Mitchell's 6'1". He's listed at 6'1". He's small, and Garland's really small too. So I think that could be a problem for them in certain matchups. Like if you just have those two guards.
It definitely could. I was gonna say Mobley and Allen just clean up, right? And we saw that down the stretch. Like you had 2 really good guards in Tatum and Brown, right, or 2 wing players, and Mobley and Allen just protected them, right? So, I'm with you. It's like something to attack. Really good teams can attack it. But it's hey, that's a trade-off, right? We've always known Donovan Mitchell wasn't that good of a defensive player. Same with Garland. So yeah, I don't know.
Hot take coming in. We talked about Robin Lopez's Anderson Parashau. Jared Allen has a little bit of Joakim Noah in him.
Okay, I love his hair.
It's like the hair is like number one, but Jared Allen is a hustler out there, man. Like I feel like he gets credit as being a good center, but I don't know if he gets like as much credit as he should for like really being a good center. Like he plays super strong defense. He can score points on offense. He scored 14 points. That's probably like who he is, but he just brings like a kind of energy to any team that he's on. Like even when he was on the Nets, like he kind of brought it day in and day out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tyson Chandler maybe brought a little bit more intensity, but like I don't think he's that much different of a play. Like he's gonna get his points just by diving to the rim, right? Getting offensive boards and stuff. Oh, we only get 10 minutes with Zoom. Look at that, or 30 minutes total with Zoom, I guess. Because I got a notification that ends in 10
I
minutes.
think it's 45. You get 45 total with the
45. Okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think I'm with you. He doesn't get a lot of credit, and it's probably because his ceiling's not as high, but he's just a consistent double-double guy, and he knows his role. He'll play defense. He's not going to take shots out of his skill set, really. Like, I like him. I really like Jared Allen. I think he'd be a fit on a lot of really good teams.
The only thing that I agree with everything you guys said, and I really like Jared Allen. He was a negative 17 in this game. I don't know if you guys saw the box score. I can't really explain it because I felt like he was productive and like staying in the game in those minutes, but I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things where
plus minus isn't perfect.
He had to have been out there the minutes that Garland was on the bench.
Or well, like, also the Celtics went on a huge run, and I think that it was like the beginning of the second quarter, and I guess he must have been out there for it. I don't know. Maybe it was in the first quarter, but anyways, he must have been out there for the run, and Mobley was on the bench because that affected their plus minus quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. Horford was plus 11 for that game.
Yeah, Horford doesn't age. I don't understand how this man is still productive. Like you were mentioning weak spots on defense earlier, Nolan. I was like, well, you could attack Horford. It's like you really can't. He's still like very solid. Like
I came in being like, I came into the game being like, do the Celtics need to upgrade at center? And then I watched the game and I was like, honestly, no. Horford's like still solid as hell.
Yeah.
Like he just knows his role. He can shoot the three. Like what else would you look for even? I don't know what else you would look for. And they have Rob Williams coming back too. So I don't think they need to upgrade there. I think if they can fill out their depth a little bit, then they'll be fine. How would you guys rank the Eastern Conference teams right now? Let's just do like a top five. Like how would you rank the top five?
Bucks, number one. I'm not gonna necessarily go in an order. I just know Bucks are one. Cleveland's gonna have to be somewhere in there in the top five. Not even gonna put Philadelphia, not Miami.
Why'd you say that about Miami? I would think Miami would be there for sure.
They've started
slow this year, but
yeah, are we we're saying top five right now,
yeah,
right?
Who are the top five best teams? Not like who's ranked, not who's got the best start.
I don't know. Yeah, I would just say like, yeah, in terms of like their likelihood to win the finals this year, like who do you think the five teams are that still have the most championship equity? Like regardless of their start. I mean, you could argue like based on how Phillies look this year, now Harden's out for a month. Like, I'm not saying their window's closed, but like,
yeah,
it's not. Everyone proves they were like the sexy pick to win the East this year, and it's like I don't really see it.
Looking at the standings, it's. Oh, go ahead, Pietro. My bad.
Well, I was just gonna start rattling teams: the Bucks, the Heat, the Celtics, the 76ers, and then probably the Nets.
So I would say the Cavs and the Raptors instead of the 76ers and the Nets. I think both of those are dumpster fires that aren't going to get better. Nets or Sixers might get better, but they have to fire Doc Rivers.
Yeah, I'm out on the Nets. I don't see it with
Nets
that
are not recovering. Yeah,
I do think like I would go Bucks. Bucks are. I mean, to me, they're the favorite. I think after the Bucks, I'd probably go like the next tier, probably be like Celtics. I still believe in the Heat. I just think they have good infrastructure. And I kind of like, I mean, the Raptors and Cavs, I like both of those teams. And the Sixers, I'm not giving up on, but the Nets, I'm out on. I just don't think they have the right roster.
Do you think they missed the playoffs?
I think they could be a play-in team, but I don't think they have. They just have a weird team. I mean, we could talk about them on a different podcast, but like, they don't have good defenders. Ben Simmons looked like he's completely lost his confidence. Irving is just.
We're not talking about the Nets until podcast number 5 or 6. All right, we're gonna be different. I don't want to do that.
But they're a mess. I don't believe in them. But I think this Cavs team is. I don't think this is a play-in team. I think both of these teams are going to be in the playoff in the top 6 seeds.
if you're the Cavs, do you trade for KD?
I mean, if anyone can trade for KD, he's Kevin Durant. Like,
You have to give up too much. I wouldn't. They also don't have any draft picks up. They traded them all for Mitchell. I don't think they can even make an offer that would.
Oh, really? I'm gonna look
Yeah,
up.
I don't think they. I don't know how many draft picks they can
Cleveland
trade still.
Cavs
Mobley
assets.
for KD, who says no?
If I was a Cavs, I would definitely say no.
Doesn't that make the Cavs a championship team though? That trade this year?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I don't. Let's look.
Like, I don't think I get what you're saying, Nolan, in terms of like long-term structure of the team, but I don't know if they say no that quickly.
They probably think about it, but like, I just with KD's age and all the baggage that's coming with him, like at this point in the Cavs development, I would more value like 5 years of potential contending than like 1 year of definite contending, because I think they think they're good enough to contend for the next like 3 or 4 years with how young this roster is, versus like just throw all your chips in for Durant. Like that feels like almost like a desperation move, which like I don't think they need to do at this point.
Yeah, I mean the contracts wouldn't work because Mobley's still on a rookie contract, so they'd have to move somebody else like to make it happen. But
Love probably still makes enough money to throw him in there.
it's kind of hilarious that Kevin Love's become like a Cleveland Cavaliers like centerpiece over the
Yeah.
last 10 years. He was like the forgotten stepchild for a long time, and he's the only one that's still there.
Is he does he get his jersey retired by the Cavs?
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
You think
I
so?
think he does.
Why not?
I think he does. He won a ring. He's been there for what, like 10
Yeah,
years?
he
Almost
has to
9
be
or
like
10 years.
top on rebounds or near it. Like, what other
I mean,
rebounders?
he was the third best player on the team. Like, did the Bulls even retire Rodman's number?
No, but they retired coup coaches, didn't they? Or not retired? They hung a banner for. Am I wrong there?
I don't
They,
know.
they didn't retire coup
Bulls.
coach. They didn't retire coup coach. I don't think.
I think they don't retire Irving's jersey, but I bet they retire. I mean, they're going to retire LeBron's jersey, obviously, and I think they retire Love's jersey too. He's just been here for long enough. Especially if this team can make like a real run and he's part of it. Like I think he like
Yeah.
bridges the rest together. I bet he gets his jersey retired.
I don't know, man. I'm comparing against the Bulls, and the Bulls are a different franchise, but the Bulls have like 3 or 4 retired numbers total.
What? So do you think Rose and Noah get their jerseys retired?
I think no.
Neither of them. You don't think Derrick
No.
Rose? Gets
Noah,
his jersey?
They
Noah,
didn't
no
do
way.
anything.
Noah, no way. Rose maybe because he's a Chicago guy. Like maybe.
I don't think
but-
anyone will wear Rose's number, but how do you retire it, man? He won MVP once. He had like a 3-year like stretch. Like it was cool, it was awesome, but retire?
on paper, it doesn't make sense to retire. I think it's more about the story and Chicago kid gives a lot for the community, like all that. I don't think basketball merit requires that he has his number retired.
I think Rodman should have his number retired ahead of Rose.
Yeah, it's a different standard if you won 6 championships, because I'm just thinking like if Rose played for the Hornets, no question he gets his jersey retired, right? I mean, that's like the peak of probably Hornets basketball. Like there's a lot of teams that would have like an MVP run, multiple playoff appearances. Like that's worthy. I mean, if you look at the Cavs whose jerseys they retired, because they retired Larry Nance's jersey. Have you ever heard of a Larry Nance playoff run?
So who are there retired? Do you have the list up?
I'll pull it up.
We're gonna run out of time here.
Yeah. I'm looking at, let's see, defensive rebound. So Kevin
Yeah.
Love will finish third on defensive rebound.
Oh my God, dude! Ilgauskas
Yeah.
has his number
I was
retired.
gonna say they
Yeah.
dude, look at some of this list. Like
Well,
Kevin Love for sure.
That
makes a great
what?
team.
I'm going to share my screen a second because I'm looking at the franchise leaders for stuff. And so here you can see though, looking at the list, I can't collapse this list, unfortunately, but it's LeBron, and then the occasional Z, just offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds is still LeBron.
Where's my man, Mo Williams?
If you look at the requirements to become a retired jersey in Cleveland, I mean, look, so Larry Nance,
Right
8 seasons, 2 All-Star games. Mark Price, 9 seasons, 4 All-Star games. Austin Carr, 9 seasons, 1 All-Star game. Nate Thurman, 2 seasons, averaged 5 points. I'm not even sure how that makes sense.
Are we gonna get dropped here when time runs out?
Yeah, probably. So closing remarks. Fuck Boston. Always fuck Boston. Insert the GIF from the Winning Time show. So that's my
Yeah.
closing remark.
My closing remark, Cavs are awesome. They're going to be really good. And this is a fun game, and hopefully we'll move to the Western Conference next time.
Yeah, my closing remarks. This is fun. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. We'll chat about it. We'll chat about next schedule. Thanks to all our fans, appreciate you guys checking in, right? I'll produce this, guys, and, try and have some fun with it and share
George,
some.